be taking with the #3 overall pick, saying that San Francisco will take either Mac Jones or Trey Lance, but definitely not Justin Fields, despite Kyle Shanahan attending the Ohio State quarterback's second pro day. So, Shannon, it's always important we ask you. You played for Mike Shanahan, who's heavily involved with Kyle and the 49ers. You know the family so well. Who do you think they'll go with?
Mac Jones has everything the Shanahans like. He's more than athletic enough. He doesn't have the athleticism of a Justin Fields or Trey Lance, but I believe he has better accuracy than both of those guys. So he's more than athletic enough to run the West Coast system. The run game is very prominent, Skip. They do a lot of play action. They do a lot of boots off what they do in the run game.
Yep.
He won an MVP. Kyle Shanahan was the offensive coordinator in which Matt Ryan won the MVP. Mac Jones is more athletic than Matt Ryan. So if Matt Ryan can win an MVP in this system, I know Mac Jones can do well in this system. Now, it's being reported, Skip, that Trey Lance is working out with a guy now that was coached by Kyle Shanahan. And what they're going through are the exact same plays in which Kyle is going to want to see him replicate on his pro day. Kyle's guy's name is John Beck, went to BYU.
He played, yeah.
Coached him in, if I'm not mistaken, coached him in Washington.
Yep.
Now, Kyle has a lot of confidence in John Beck. And he says, okay, put him through this, and I'm going to take, so what do you think about it? It would be like me, Skip. If Mike were to say, Shannon, I'm going to send you some tape. I want you to take a look at this tight end and give me your honest opinion of what you think. Mike's going to take my opinion because I played. He trusts that I'm going to be honest with him. Mike, great. Can drop his hip, can move. Hand placement, foot placement in the run game. But you can teach that, Mike. But I like him. I like everything about him in the passing, in the receiving game. Okay, that's what Kyle Shanahan is doing. Says, okay, the plays that we're going to ask you to learn over the next couple of days is going to be what you're going to run in our system.
Yep.
Let's see how well he can replicate what we've taught him in 2 weeks. Because, Skip, the one thing about a quarterback, you got to be able to retain information. Because each week is something different, but you also need to retain the information that you received from the week before. So we're going to learn a lot. He goes out there after having this opportunity to work with John Beck for 2 weeks. Would I be surprised if Trey Lance doesn't jump? But he's an unknown, right, Skip, the level of competition. And he missed last year, so Skip, there's not a whole lot.
Like one game.
Played one game, so there's not a lot. But I like Mac Jones. But if somebody told me after Trey Lance has his pro day and he lights it up, they're going to take Trey Lance. I'm not going to be surprised. But Mac Jones is everything Kyle would need to run this offense.
A young man who was on nobody's radar a year ago.
He's Joe Burrow.
Yep.
Joe Burrow was on nobody. Joe Burrow was one of the 5th or 6th round picks, Skip. Has arguably the greatest season for a quarterback in NCAA history, and he goes from a 5th rounder to the first pick in the entire draft.
Okay, I'm going to reiterate to you what I told you about Mike and Kyle Shanahan. The first day they traded, they vaulted, catapulted up to the 3rd overall pick by giving the next 2 years first-round picks. Basically, that's what you had to spend to go up that high. From what, 12?
12.
Whew. What got me about it was they weren't going from 12 to 2.
Right.
And 2 needs a quarterback because 2 is the New York Jets.
Right.
The Jets, to me, are reeling. They're spinning. They're desperate. They tried Sam Darnold, and it didn't work out for whatever reason. Maybe it's their fault. Maybe it's his. I wasn't a big fan going into the draft. But now you better get this one correct.
Yeah.
And the media narrative so far that is amusing me the most is that everybody just makes it a foregone conclusion that the Jets have written, engraved in stone, Zach Wilson. His name is engraved.
Right.
They've already got a plate on above his locker, Zach Wilson, right? I don't know why that has to be. I don't know why they wouldn't go to the bitter end, to the last second, thinking about, are we right about this? I don't know why you wouldn't continue to do your research.
Right.
And if Trey Lance is rising, if we get more and more reports about Trey Lance to San Francisco, why wouldn't the Jets second guess Zach Wilson? think about their worst nightmare. The Jets would be if they sat back and had to watch the next 3 or 4 years, Trey Lance just take over this draft, that he would be the pick in this draft, even beyond Trevor Lawrence. Whoa. So to me, you can't carve that. You can't even put it in ink. You better put it in pencil. And that's why the Shanahans, that maybe their intel, maybe their reconnaissance on having a source inside the Jets tell them it's a done deal, Zach Wilson. You better be right about that.
Right.
You better be right on point with your information so much that you can trust it all the way up to the last second before this.
Well, Geno Smith messed it up for the brothers with the Jets. Geno, after what he pulled with the Jets, Skip, they said, "Nah, we good."
But I don't think they're.
No, I know. But no, seriously, Skip. I think the thing is that there's a reason why Kyle Shanahan sent these plays to John Beck and asked him to work out with his kid for 2 weeks. There's a reason why he did that.
We also see a lot of smoke screens right now.
Yes.
They're trying to smoke screen the Jets into taking Trey Lance. I have no idea.
No.
But the point is, I'm going to say this again about Zach Wilson. I liked what I saw in bits and pieces. I did not watch him closely until the Coastal Carolina game. Again, they got thrown into it. It was a COVID game, neutral site, South Carolina. He didn't play very well by his standards. He is a high-wire act. He's got a little Favre in him. He will try things. He's fun to watch. He's got a little Mahomes going. He's got a live arm, and he is athletic, and he is an escape artist. And yet he had 2 big injuries and surgeries, one on his shoulder and one on his wrist, while at BYU. So if he's going to be a daredevil in pro football, is he going to be able to stay healthy? No,
you cannot. You can't be no daredevil. You can't roll the dice like that. They too big. And ask Kyler. Kyler ain't gonna learn that, you know what, I got to get down even sooner. He does a great job in the pocket, Skip. He doesn't take any shots, but he's gonna have to learn to get down even sooner once he escapes the pocket. But Skip, if what Lombardi is saying is true, that it's gonna be Mac Jones or Trey Lance, it's telling me that Kyle Shanahan, Mike Shanahan, John Lynch doesn't have that grade on Justin Fields as they have on the other 2 guys. That's what that tells me, because he's in play. We don't believe that Justin Fields is going to Jacksonville or he's going to the Jets. So therefore, Mac Jones, Justin Fields, and Trey Lance are all in play at the 3rd. Now he says, I guarantee, he pulled a Joe Namath, basically guaranteeing that he's not going 3rd to the 49ers.
He did. I told you last week, the more I watch the highlights, and all I know are the highlights of Trey Lance at North Dakota State, the more I love him. I'm starting to think he's right there, 1A with Trevor Lawrence in ability, in arm strength, obviously in athletic ability.
Oh, yeah, he's above.
And when you look at the year before.
And that, Skip, like I said, FCS, Skip, I saw him in a national championship game. And then, after the game, he's playing, and guys talking about this guy's going to be a first-round pick. I'm like, well, damn, he's just a freshman. Y'all, so you saw what he did in that championship game.
He was a redshirt freshman.
He was spectacular.
Spectacular. That year, he threw 28 touchdowns to 0 interceptions. I've never heard of that before.
But he had over 1,000 yards rushing, too.
1,100 yards rushing. Wow. And they went 16-0. So he threw 0 interceptions and lost 0 games, albeit at FCS level. We get that. And then he came back last year, and in that one game, they threw it together against Central Arkansas. I get it, Central Arkansas, and he didn't throw it very well. He finally threw 1 interception, but he ran it 15 times for 143 yards. Do I think he's Cam Newton, MVP Cam? I can't go that far, but I see explosive ability. And you want chip on your shoulder? While the guy at the top of the draft says he has no chip on his shoulder, this kid has the biggest chip on his shoulder to me. And I love what he's made of, because I watched the piece on ESPN. I love the intangibles. I love the leadership. I love the burning desire. This was a kid who got snubbed by the University of Minnesota, who said, you're a safety or a linebacker at best. And he went to North Dakota State and said, watch this.
Skip, I think when evaluators, they're evaluating guys at the lower levels, and it says, okay, the talent level is not what it is at D1. And you're more talented than these guys. Did you dominate?